I don't know about you guys, but I'm so determined to clean and cleanse my socials this year and just fill it with productive, positive content, you know? But that also means that I want my content to follow the same pattern. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the hobbies that I'm going to get back into this year and also some that I want to add to my routine. Okay, so the first category is creative. I'm a pretty creative person, but I feel like these aren't too hard to get started with. Don't get me wrong, they definitely require a lot of practice and a lot of talent, but I don't think it's difficult to get started with them. So the first one is a classic, it's scrapbooking. The reason I say that this one isn't that hard to get started with is because chances are you already take pictures of everything. Some people give their junk journals or their scrapbooks really, really beautiful themes. I was actually one of those people when I used to do this like hardcore. But it's also just a way to document your memories, so you don't need to get like too crazy with it. You can also just like print out your pictures and put them on a page, maybe stick a little receipt on there or something. If you don't feel like printing all your pictures out, what you can also do is download a few apps. I know there's a couple out there that are free and some are paid for, but basically you can just upload these pictures directly from your library and create cute little scrapbook pages online. Okay, so the next one is calligraphy. Hear me out. Being good at calligraphy is definitely not easy, and there's also some really expensive calligraphy pens out there. But I'm also someone who just like really appreciates integrating calligraphy into like my general writing, like for classes and for notes and stuff. So I would say that you can get started with pens, with markers. I like to use my mild liners for calligraphy. Honestly, I think using mild liners is a little bit harder than using like a typical calligraphy pen, but it works and it's cheap. Okay, that's actually such a lie. Mild liners are so expensive, but it's definitely easier to find them at your local Target than it would be for a calligraphy pen, you know? This next little subcategory is also for creative people, but I consider it ultra creative because I think it's a little bit more difficult to get started with and also takes some more dedication. On top of that, I think you already have to enjoy these activities to get really into them, but you might still enjoy them if you're a beginner. Okay, so the first one is prompt writing. I know I used to really enjoy writing, but I felt like I didn't have the time in my busy schedule. However, there are so many different like random little prompts online, and you can select one for yourself every single day or every single week, whatever you prefer. And you know, it's super low pressure and it's super easy. You're given the inspiration already and you just write whatever you feel like writing. So for example, this one generator that I found online gave me a random poetry style and then a random poetry theme. The next one is one that I haven't gotten the chance to get into, but I really want to. The only thing is that it's so expensive. Hi, do you want to be in the video? Yes, look. Oh, she's so cute. Hi. I know they definitely have some good supplies at different craft stores, but I've been meaning to get into it in the sense that you go and take a class, so maybe that's why I think it's so expensive. Okay, next is oil painting. So I actually love oil painting and I love looking at oil paintings. I love a good art museum. I love a good impressionist piece. This is also a very, very expensive hobby, but the thing about that is I'm not really that into acrylic paint. Acrylic paint just isn't my favorite to work with. I feel like I'm too slow and meticulous, you know? But being that I want to incorporate my hobbies into my little study breaks and just make sure I have the time for it in my busy schedule, I think that might actually be a good thing. I can just pause painting when I need to lock in, but also come back to it at any time. Okay, so the next category we have is fashion. I'm honestly not good at any of these, but I've been meaning to get good at these. I know people do really cool things with embroidery. I've been meaning to get into it in the sense that like I can embroider stuff on my clothes or my shoes. I know people do such cute things with embroidery, like with their Converse, and also like on like their back pockets of their jeans. That is literally so cute, and I think you can get so creative with it. Okay, this next one, if you're good at it, I'm literally so jealous of you, but up thrifting. Not only do I have really terrible luck at the thrift store typically, but I'm also just not good at sewing. Some people can turn a baggy polo into the most beautiful ball gown I have ever seen, and I don't understand it. But I also do think it's such a sustainable and creative way to shop for clothes. And also sometimes I feel like I don't know where to look for the specific style I'm feeling at the moment. So by up thrifting, I can pretty much just create whatever I want. Well, that's assuming I get good at it. Okay, this next one I actually have attempted, but knitting slash crocheting. I think my crocheting fail came from getting yarn that was like way too thick. I also think getting yarn around her might be like a really bad idea because that's like a common health hazard I've heard. But if you're able to, I would highly suggest it because I think people make such cute things. Like, for example, the other day I went to the store and I saw the cutest little crocheted flower, and I'm like, why do I need to pay $50 to have a crocheted flower in my house? I'm probably gonna do it anyways. I'm actually not bad at this. The only thing is I don't like to take off my rings when I shower or wash my hands or put on hand lotion or anything like that. So finding materials for rings that won't tarnish when I do all of those things is kind of difficult. The next category is cooking. When I tell you guys that I am so bad at cooking, but I need to learn how to do it eventually, so that's what we're gonna do this year. More specifically, the first cooking-based hobby I'm gonna get into is baking. People make the most delicious looking muffins ever for breakfast, and I'm like, I wish I could do that. How do you do that? And you know, sometimes I'm really bad about eating at home because I'm super picky, and so I feel like if I only make the two things I know how to make, I'm gonna eventually get bored of them and not have anything to eat. But I think that baking is the perfect way to add just like a little flavor to your dinner, you know? On a real similar note of just learning how to make pure junk, I want to get really good at making my drinks like aesthetic. I'm not awful at making like matcha and coffee and that type of thing, but I want to get good at making them like look super cute so I can take them to class and not spend my money on a cute little latte on the way. I've seen some people do the cutest little things with like colored cold foam and then sprinkles, and I think that makes them so cute. Oh my goodness. That's pretty much all for cooking because baby steps. Our next category is fitness. Honestly, these next two are gonna be like in a video of their own because they've been so good for my mental health. Okay, I've done them like once, but I can already feel them bettering my mental health. The first is nature walks slash runs. There's like a little cute park by my apartment, and the other day I went with my boyfriend, and it was literally so peaceful and so like, you know, like I could see the skyline, but I could also see nature, and it was just so beautiful. And I also just like got my heart pumping, you know? I quit with the running after like 5 minutes and just walked the rest of the way, but it's okay. I promise I'm not out of shape. I go to the gym all the time. I just have really bad asthma. So yeah, it's good for your mind and for your body, and you also get to be amongst nature. But yeah, if you have asthma, make sure you bring your inhaler. The next one is yoga. So one thing about me is I did dance for many, many years, but I just simply do not have the time right now as a college student. I'm thinking of going back to it next semester potentially, but in the meantime, I do want to keep stretching and doing yoga because I think it's good for my mind and body the same way that going to the park was. And actually, my apartment has really cool amenities, and I feel like I don't take advantage of all of them enough. So, for example, we have like a little Pilates studio, and we also have a room with a ballet bar. So, the idea is on the weekends when I'm not too busy with school and when I'm on a break from the gym, I can go and just get a little stretch routine in. And the last category is miscellaneous. Okay, you guys are gonna have to hear me out on stargazing. Back in my hometown, I would go out into my parents' like balcony and just look at the stars, and it was so peaceful and so amazing. And honestly, it was super educational too because I would do a good amount of research before I went out there. But I actually live in a bigger city now, and I never knew how much I would miss just getting to look at stars because now I look outside and I see maybe an airplane and a star or two. So, if you're able to, I highly suggest that you go and do some stargazing. Like I said before, it can definitely be a good educational activity, but it's also good if you just want to do something mindless. And our very last hobby suggestion is actually something I can't do because I have a cat, and I'm honestly too worried that any sort of plant that I bring into my apartment could be bad for her. But gardening and tending to flowers and plants seems like such a cool hobby. My brother and his girlfriend have like a vast array of plants, but I know they're definitely super well researched because they have 2 dogs in their house. Don't get me wrong, I definitely do so much research when it comes to her health, but I think I'm just a little too paranoid to have plants in my house. Still, I know that gardening can be so good for some people, and it's also so beautiful to have in your space. I think that was 15, right? That's like everything I have on my list, so let's hope it's 15. If you stayed all the way until the end, thank you so much. Consider liking, commenting, subscribing, all those good things. I'm thinking of posting a mix of cat content, my personal college life, but mostly just productive content, you know? I feel like posting productive content just makes me more motivated to be productive and more motivated to like research new ways to be productive. So yeah, follow along with my journey and let's become productive together this year. Thank you for watching. Bye!